Hello there, and welcome to my contribution to International MOC Day, which is an event started by It's the Jackhammer on YouTube and Instagram, and he encouraged people to build mocks and post them on their social media on May 1st all together to kind of encourage creativity. And I thought it was a pretty cool concept, and I actually already was working on this ATST when he announced it. So I still had to finish the ATST, and then I also built the base for it. So I decided to make this my entry, my contribution. So to get to the actual mock, the scene I depicted here is from Season 1, Chapter 4 of the Mandalorian, where Mando and Cara Dune confront the raiders and get chased out of the forest by the AT-ST that they have salvaged from the Imperials. You can see we got Mando and Cara Dune running right here. They probably should be in front of the AT-ST, but I had to work with the space that I had here. We also have some explosions and some fires to kind of show where some of the blaster bolts hit. The explosion here kind of is they are kind of an illegal building technique where the power blast pieces are attached by clips just not properly to kind of give the spreading out of the explosion, and these plant pieces are just sitting up top that kind of get blown off by the explosion. So that's a bit of an illegal building technique, but it's a mock. So yeah, I've also got one of the the beginning of one of these square ponds where they farm the shrimp. These two started areas are actually for Mando and Cara Dune to hide in the water, but it doesn't really work because they should be lower down, and I didn't really want to build a hill or elevate the whole platform, so I just kind of ended up making this a bit inaccurate. I also have a little side build with the kid that is playing with Baby Yoda, and a little led where I put some sloped pieces to be as the blue shrimp. I used a lot of foliage pieces on this mock. I actually got them from the pick-a-brick wall at the Lego shop. Got a lot of these small flower pieces and a lot of the grass pieces, so pretty much used all the ones I had. I did want to sprinkle in some more different plants, but I didn't have much, so I just ended putting some more different plants around the water to kind of show that there are some kind of water plants to get some variety in there. And on the back I put some more higher flora to kind of represent the edge of the forest. So imagine here being the forest. I also have the areas where the ATST trampled some of the plants. You can see I've got some pieces to represent broken branches and cut broken down trees, also some trampled grass, some bent trees to kind of give that effect, those footprints where he's walking out. Probably the weakest part of the base is that if you look at it from above and close, there are a lot of straight lines because I didn't really have a lot of small green and brown pieces. I've got a couple of patches of green bricks added, but I didn't really have that much, so I tried to cover it up with foliage to really not make it as visible. If you look at it from the side, it's not noticeable at all. So only if you look at it from the top. So I think it is covered up quite nicely. Also got the little frog here, some bait for Baby Yoda, and added some blue flowers to kind of add some more color, since it was a lot of green and brown. So those flames and flower pieces really do break it up a bit. Now onto the actual build, the ATST. It does support its own with an accurate leg design. You can see it here, I've got them attached at the back, if it would focus. Look at this, it's attached here and then have the leg, and these friction adders from the buildable Star Wars figures really work wonders here, because it is able to hold itself up on its own. It's a bit tricky to get it into a proper position, like there are a lot of positions where it likes to fall over, but if you get it into a nice and balanced position, it will hold itself. Like you can wobble it and it won't fall over on its own. So that's a real plus. I'm actually gonna remove the ATST from the base to take a closer look at it on its own I'll show you how it holds up on its own. And actually, before we do, maybe you already noticed on the back here, I do have, this is kind of inaccurate, but it's just the way I had to attach the top. But you can see this little knob here. You can actually press it and you can already see a bit of light in there. So if we turn it around, I'm actually gonna quickly turn off my lights here. You can see, pushed it at the back and installed a light up brake to kind of give the scene where they're in the forest and suddenly they just see those two red glowing eyes, which are the windows of the ATST. So that's really important to get that in there. So that turned out really nice looking. So yeah, I'm gonna separate those two and then we're gonna take a closer look at the ATST. But quick before we get to the ATST, here's a little look at the base without the ATST and figures. You can see kind of the sharp angles the straight lines I was talking about, but with the, if you look it from any other angle than above, it's not noticeable. So yeah, let's get to the ATST. Here's the ATST radar, and as I promised, it is holding up on its own. No cheat pieces, no clear pieces anywhere, so you do need to get it into a certain position. It doesn't like to stay up in every position. Like it's not gonna fall over on its own, but if you wobble it too much, it tends to lean forward and fall over. But if you get it into a nice and balanced position, it will stay. The build process for this thing is actually documented on my Instagram, flowforreal_. On my story highlights on my profile, I've been posting a lot of like pictures when I was building this thing and trying out things in the last month, over the last month. So you can kind of check out the build process there from where it started to all the way to now, to the finished mock, including the base. So you can check that out if you want. But looking at the main ATST, the main reason I started on this mock is to build an accurate leg design for the ATST. I do have the 2012 version from Rogue One right here, which is mostly the same to the ATST Raider official set, but you can see Lego didn't really include a lot of articulation because I mean it's a kid's toy and it should be stable, but I really wanted to try to get it to an accurate leg design. Like the only thing you can do is bend this part, and if you do it, it never stands up properly like this. So I really wanted to get something done. I did start with my own design, but that one failed. So I looked up some designs some other people have done, and I kind of based mine off of those. So you can see the legs are attached at the back here. If it focus, go into the other leg part here. I've got the red leg on one side, and I also added the net which was present on some, I think the Hasbro toy, and some pictures. Got the stripes down the leg. Like the only thing that isn't really accurate, this is supposed to move, but there's no way you could do it with proper stability. Like you can see on the inside, I do have the angled piece right here. And probably the weakest part of the mock is the black piece and the blue pins here, but I just didn't have this one in gray, and there are the tan pins, but they are much looser, and I tried them, but this would make this connection really wobbly, and it's a pretty vital connection to the stability of the thing. Like it's like the whole thing is on those two pins, so that didn't just work out for stability. So gonna have to live with that. Got some, did sprinkle in, did extend the white lines from the stickers with some, and it likes to fall over. Come on, gonna hold it a bit here. I did extend the lines with some bricks, but broke up the pattern a bit to make it less like a floor pattern. I did use the whip pieces as like hanging cables, like the official set. The back here, hold on, I'm gonna get this thing to stand up again. On the back here, we do have the design from the official set that I left in there. I don't know if it's really accurate, but I just really liked how it looked, so I left that untouched. I did add some of those pieces to kind of give that round opening look it has at the back. Those stickers are kept from the official set. The back here I've already showed. This part is the most inaccurate probably, but it does have the attachments for the roof, for the top section, and the activator for the light up rig, so and I've had to sacrifice that. The side panels, I did add in a lot of tan and brown pieces to kind of give that rusted look throughout the thing, like on the top here. You can see I added a lot of brown in the cracks to fill out some of them. On the other side, it's pretty much identical. The side panels are pretty much from the original Lego set. This design is kind of inaccurate, but I left it because I do really like the use of these shield and ingot pieces. Did add this piece to kind of make the cannon more accurate, but didn't change too much there. The other leg, you can see, is pretty much identical build to the other one, except minus the wires, and I did change up some of the patterns to kind of give it more of a broken down look. The leg here as well, more the brown leg. The other one is more red. The feet design is pretty simple. I could have built something more accurate, but I didn't really want to use the official stickered pieces, and I needed some kind of big piece to kind of have it a solid foot to really hold it up properly. And I did add this to change the thing at the front to kind of give it that toe look that the in-universe thing has. Kind of a look at the leg again, the front here. At the front of the ATST, I did kind of add some wheel pieces to the cannons to they're kind of hidden in there. They're supposed to kind of be under the cannon in the original thing, in the in-universe thing, but I did add them, but they're kind of hidden from most angles. You can see them like in here, so I think it worked out. On the other side, I didn't change up this cannon either. I just added one little piece right there. At the front, I did change the kind of flaps at the top because I really didn't like these pieces. I don't know why Lego just doesn't use these clip pieces. I think they look much better. Then for the eyes, I actually decided to use the transparent red pieces to kind of give it, and it's falling over. Cut. So for this last part, I decided to put down the camera and remove the legs because the whole thing just kept falling over because it gets pretty unstable. Like when you're messing around showing off the top of the thing, it constantly fell over, so I just decided to make it easier on myself. For the neck, I actually had the official Lego set play feature by having the knob at the back and the head rotate feature. I did keep it in there for quite a long time because I did quite like it, but when I was getting to the end of this thing, when posing it, the head always just having the head just being able to go straight up from the body, it always be kind of tilted. So I did remove the play feature and added in a wall friction joint, another friction adder, to be able to tilt the head. Like you can see, you can tilt the head and have it be in stable condition, stable position. You can also rotate it to a certain degree. I think that's pretty much all the rotation you are gonna need. Doesn't really have it go back. So It does have a nice range here. Side panels like to come off a bit, but you can see I did add the tire as kind of the neck area, and it's kind of accurate, and also it allows you to put some Technic pins through it, some kind of Technic. You can see the head is safely attached in there. I can't really see it, but you can imagine how it's done, like it here. Now actually, the last thing I want to show off is the interior. The hatch at the top is from the original set, and it is able to open. For the interior, I have the drivers right in there. We can see it. Got the drivers right in here. I'm gonna free cam, like right under the hatch. So I think that's pretty accurate, since in the official set the cockpit is really bad, like it's just one seat really far down. So I really wanted to improve that, and you can still open this whole thing up like the official set. You can see I actually have space for 2 drivers right there. I do have the lighter brick at the back here, and I also installed a little weapons holder, like a bunch of clips to hold some blasters and pieces for the drivers. Drivers themselves are the 2 raiders. They can remove them really quick. They are just attached with 1 stud on 1 leg, so we can fit both in there. Got a little control panel, which is the stickered piece from the set. If it would focus, I've added some more red glowing pieces, transparent red pieces, and some printed 1x1 to add some more of a control panel. And I did just clean up the interior, add some lights, make it less gappy, to kind of give it a more clean look. You can close up the top again. Slides in really nicely. The side panels do like to get a bit wobbly if they're not properly put in place, but you can see, yeah, they do stay in place. Gun just fell off, but I'm gonna reattach that when I build it again. So that's gonna be pretty much it. So before we wrap it up, I'm gonna take a closer look at the figures. We're gonna start off with the 2 figures, the pilots. This figure is just from the official set. There's nothing changed about it. This figure is also the same, just I changed up the torso because I did use the other torso for my Kirill minifigure. And so I think that's Lando's torso from Lando's Jabba's Palace disguise. For the other 3 figures I'm using, we've got the Mandalorian himself, we got Cara Dune, and we got the kid, which the little girl that was playing with Baby Yoda. I don't know the name of her, but her torso and legs are from the Boba Fett advent calendar. Young Boba, the hair is Cara Dune's, and the hands and head are from the boy from the kid from the Jurassic World set from last year, like the $25 one with the little market stand and the Dilophosaurus, and I gave her just a little staff build. For Cara Dune, there's not too much change. Torso and legs are from the official figure, the head as well. I did give you a shoulder armor piece, which is from the Bounty Hunter from the CMF 19, and I swapped the hair to fit with the armor piece, and I did just give it a gray blaster since he's using a smaller blaster as well as a big gun. And probably the most interesting figure here is the Mandalorian in his Beskar armor. The legs and arms are from the DC CMF Cyborg. I did swap out the hip piece for a brown piece, and the legs aren't really accurate, but they are consistent with the arms, so I kept them in because I couldn't really find a proper leg piece. The torso is from Jango Fett. I gave him one of the classic revolver pieces as his gun. Gave him also a brown instead of the gray cape. The only thing that isn't pierced here is the armor piece, which is from Ninjago. It did have an attachment that was could hold 2 katanas at the back, but I did cut that off, but actually not for this figure. I was using this armor piece for my Astrid from How to Train Your Dragon, and I cut off this back piece for her so I could fit her blonde hair over it, and I ended up using it for Mando here now. So not really purist here, but I did want to have some kind of shoulder armor piece. Helmet is from the official set, and I actually gave him a face print, which is Bard the Bowman from the Hobbit's Battle of the Five Armies Lake Town set, because it does have a similar facial hair and it does have the scruff marks, like some dirt on it, like in the scene where IG-11 removes his helmet. And I think it doesn't look too off from Pedro Pascal as well, so definitely a nice choice for the head. So that's gonna be it. I'm gonna wrap up the video, and yeah, let's do that. So there you have it, my MOC for International MOC Day 2020. I think it turned out pretty cool. It's probably the most professional MOC I've built, since I did finally have a good parts inventory by taking apart a lot of sets earlier this year. It's nothing major, but I think it really helped getting this done. Also using a lot of same pieces from the pick a brick wall, so kind of having a lot of one piece is not something I didn't really have before, so I think it turned out pretty nice. I did do some mock building, like you can see up there some of the stuff I built, also some modular buildings, this shrimp shack, and also a custom Lego shop. So I've done mock building in the past, but never with a decent parts inventory and a lot of one type of piece to use. So I'm really happy how this one turned out, and I hope you liked it too. I'm gonna get back to making some more videos, so I'd love to hear what you have to say about it in the comments. And yeah, that's it for Mock Day 2020. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Stickers are from the official set, and the hatch at the top opens up like the original set, and I broke it off. God damn it. Tilt the head. It likes to do this.